thick, have a concert. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of you here. What's going on, ma'am? Go ahead.
Can you stop muting? I'm not at the mute button.
Say what's on your mind, ma'am. Go ahead. I haven't muted you. Go ahead, ma'am.
Why are you lying? Why do you keep muting me? Stop it. Stop it. Be a grown-ass man. Ma'am, sir.
Ma'am, I have not muted you. I cannot help that you drop your damn crack pipe on the phone and it's muting it on your own. I'm not doing that, ma'am. Hold your crack pipe in order so that it doesn't fall and mute your phone. I'm not touching the mute button, ma'am. If you were not on the pipe.
So who's touching it? Little Tyreek? Little Tyreek is touching the mute button?
Ma'am, you're dropping your heroin needles on the phone. Stop it.
No, I'm not, sir.
So, what city are you in, ma'am?
Don't worry about what city I'm in. What city are you in that your whole family's there at a family reunion and you're here talking to white supremacists? Do you want white supremacist cock, Tariq? Does your cousin want it, Tariq?
Lord, ma'am, with that naughty mouth, ma'am, you guys are so obsessed with sexual access to black people. Ma'am, do you obsessed with
about it, Tariq?
Black males? You want to have sex with black males?
Answer my question, Tariq. Why are you here talking to white supremacists if you have a whole damn family, Tariq?
Becky,
what are you doing, Tariq?
Becky, are you obsessing with having sexual access to black males, ma'am? That's why you're calling me, ma'am?
Tariq, stop muting me, Tariq. Where's your family, Tariq?
Ma'am, I do not want any access to your wet dog smelling vajayjay. I will kindly reject you, ma'am. There's somebody out there for you, but I'm just not the one, ma'am. So hopefully you can find somebody for your smelly little Neanderthal Park JJ. Okay? You have a good day, ma'am. Toodles. All right, let's get some more people in here. Lord, just obsessing like crazy, aren't they? All right. Let's get some more people in here. Can you guys hear me well, guys? Can you guys hear me? Hold on one second. Hold on. Y'all bear with me. All right. If y'all can hear me, y'all press that thumbs up, please. If you can hear me, press the thumbs up. My reception is a little janky here. I've been going in and out. If you guys can hear me, press. Okay. All right. Let's get Hold on. Okay, I've already had him on. Let's get that Negro jamming. Let's get that Negro jamming in here. What's up, brother? That Negro jamming.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. How are you, Tariq?
All right. No connection. There you go. What's up, brother?
Hey, I have been doing a lot of work out here in Washington State, reparations work, and I owe you a big apology. I would like to apologize for the things I've said. You may do things differently, but I can appreciate the way you move and the following.
Okay.
What's that?
I can't, brother. The reception, sir. The reception is horrible. I really can't understand what you're saying, sir. The reception is going in and out. Unfortunately, I couldn't understand what you're saying, sir. Unfortunately. All right, so we're going to try somebody else. The reception was very, very bad. Let's try Afro Puffs. Let me try Afro Puffs. But, sir, the reception was very bad. Afro Puffs, you want to get on? All right, Afro Puffs.
Hi, Tariq. Were you able to get in touch with the YouTube channel, the Culture?
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. I've been speaking with them, so yeah, I've tapped in with them. Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, okay. Because I had a way through. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. So that's all I wanted.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, dear. so much.
Okay.
All right. Let's get Chatical Coder. Let's get Chatical. Chat.
Afternoon. What you doing, man?
I see Juicy Genius down there. I see Afro Elite, NYCT, Rashawn. I see a lot of the regulars in here. I see Brother Marcel. Uh,
Foundational
Chatical.
Americans. What'd you have for dinner tonight?
Wait, what? Let's try it again, brother. Go ahead.
No, I said, what'd you have for dinner tonight?
Okay, go ahead, brother. Yeah, your phone
Can you hear me?
is real janky, sir.
Here,
Go
let
ahead.
me drop down and come back.
Okay. Did he ask what I had for dinner tonight? That's what I had for dinner? Okay. All I heard is what you have for dinner tonight. Okay. That's a very weird question. All right. Well, let's get okay, no, I ain't get that person. This person got somebody's nuts in his damn thing. I ain't gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that at all. Let's get let me see. Oh, we got jibber jabbering Jeff in here. Uh-oh. Now I see you down there, jibber jabbering Jeff, the white supremacist who I have to debunk at least once a week. Everybody say what's up to jibber jabbering Jeff. All right. What's up, Ace? Let's holler at Ace. What's up, Ace?
Hey, what's up, Treek?
What's going on with you, Ace? How
Very good. I had a question.
Yeah.
Given
Go ahead.
given my limited knowledge of the subject, I was curious if you saw 1970s Black culture as kind of a peak in American history relative to the other decades, as far as like camaraderie and social movements, etc. Do you think that's a palatable, decade for the foreseeable future?
As a peak, I don't get that. I don't think it was a peak. As far as what, I don't really get the question, to be honest.
As far as like media culture merging with average people, like I'm thinking of like Studio 54, Motown, all these like media phenomenons that were kind of merging with a lot of younger people, and it kind of becoming a pop cultural thing rather than a political identity. Do you see that as a positive?
Well, the 70s, because of, there was a lot of creativity in the 70s, culture wise, especially with music, because we fought for integration and we were able to get access to certain things, especially music wise. That's why there were so many musical revolutions in the 70s. We had access to better jobs, better living conditions. We were able to get music lessons, put music in schools, get music instruments. So we were able to create all of these things with the limited resources that we were finally given access to. So that's why there were so many phenomenal movements going on in the 70s, born out of Black culture, the disco thing, the funk music era that comes out of Ohio and other places like that, and with James Brown. So a lot of the political movements meshed in with the musical cultural movement. So it was all a melting pot of a lot of things born out of foundational Black American culture. So, so I don't say that was a peak, though. I just say that it was a very interesting cultural time for us because of the creativity that we had access to. All right, let's so Chatical Coder. Let's get you back on. Chatical. All right, Chatical, you back?
Yeah, am I coming through clear now?
A little bit better. Yeah, your phone is still a little janky, but what'd you ask me to do? What I ate? What did I
What'd you
eat?
have for dinner?
Or shit. Well, you delivered some chicken wings earlier in your Uber, and they were good. Did you eat my fries? Because I had that missing out of my bag.
No,
Shit.
I don't drive Uber, but
Okay. Where you from?
I'm in California right now.
No, where's your family from?
Oh, we went over this last time. My dad's German, Venezuelan, and Japanese, and my mom's from Ethiopia.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
There you
tether.
go. Okay, right. There's so many of you tethers call up. You
Yeah.
guys kind of a blur. I just kind of forgot what did we talk about last time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate like some of the other tethers do. They'll come on and they'll kind of give you some shit and stuff like that. But I'm a Tariq Nasheed disciple. I'm not against you or anything like that.
No, no, no.
No, we
No,
talked about there
you're a
was
Postmate. You're a Postmates disciple. You're not a disciple.
nah,
You're a disciple of Postmates.
nah,
You
nah, nah, nah.
you
I
you
don't
Uber
fuck
gang,
with
Uber gang, Uber gang, my nigga. You be throwing up the U. But go ahead.
Yo, you ever put any music out? I think like a Tariq Nasheed album, like if you were to get like Metro Boomin or like somebody to produce you a song, and then you were to like put something together and put it out. I think that could be real good for the movement. I think it could be a good
Mm-hmm.
way to raise the consciousness of everybody and
Mm.
open up avenues to recruit more people.
Well, I got an album coming out with your family. Guess what the name of it's called?
What?
Hungry for Love.
Damn, bro, you got to do me like that? Come on, man. Come on. That's crazy, bro. Yeah.
And look, there's another one. I'm going over there to Ethiopia. It's a rap album that I'm recording with your cousin. Guess what that's called?
Yeah. Booty scratching and
All
booty scratching in the dunes or something, or what?
Get it? All flies on me.
Oh, nice.
That's tight, huh?
Yo, you
Anyway,
should make another one. It's
get
called
out of here.
it's
Go
called
back to deliver your orders, man. Go back and deliver your orders. Oh, okay. Lord, these guys, if you're gonna roast, y'all better get down to it. All right. Let me see. A lot of folks in here right now. Oh man. Again, I got some new books coming out, man, from the Hidden History Museum. Possibly next week. I think they'll be ready next week. Also, at the Hidden History Museum, we got a rap contest. Speaking of rap, on August 12th, we got a rap contest. So if you're in LA, you can spit. Come on down. The best spitter, we're gonna give them $500, and then we're gonna have the comedy show after that. So you guys need to come through Hidden History Museum, and the tickets for that will be on sale in a couple of days at hiddenhistorymuseum.com. Let's get I don't know what your name is. I just invited you on. You got a comic book character thing. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
What up, man? I love your show. First time speaking with you, but I want to ask you, why do you think these white motherfuckers are so mad, bro? Like I know, but I want to ask you, why do you think they're so angry?
Well, to be honest, man, it's them birth rates. A lot of the white supremacists, man, them birth rates are dropping, and they're very sensitive about that, man. They live in these segregated enclaves, and they got a zero birth rate. So the white supremacists are very upset with us. You got all of the resources, you got everything handed to you, but you still mad, yelling nigga, nigga, nigga. So a lot of that has to do with, them genetics, man. They feel like those genetics are failing. So Dr. Welsing talked about this. Y'all need to read the work of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Phenomenal sister. She breaks down a lot of that anger. Get her book, The ISIS Papers. Very, very good book. And all you do is flee and then whine about foundational Black Americans, sir, and scratch your big forehead in confusion as to why you're so jealous of foundational Black Americans, because we didn't flee. We stayed like men and women and stood up to oppression and thrived within the oppression without fleeing, sir.
You didn't have a choice. If you did, you probably would.
No, well, we chose not to flee, sir. We don't want to flee.
I just said you don't have a choice.
We don't want to flee. That's the thing. We don't want to flee. And flee where?
A slave
Where we
cannot
going to go?
flee.
Sir, you guys are being enslaved over there. They're getting them Somalians and them East Africans and taking them up there to Libya and spanking your pussy with whips right now. What are you talking about? Talking about slaves? Are we really going there, sir?
I'm saying those slaves still have no choice too, but you see
Well,
me, I
don't
can
talk
go
about
wherever I
the
want
slaves
because
and
I'm free.
people are being, and instead of helping the people being enslaved in your homeland now, your ass fleed. At least we fought to get up out of slavery. Your ass fled. You came over here and you're eating a damn McRib sandwich.
Bro, I came to give you advice, so you don't have to
No,
cry on here.
you can't, Juju, you cannot give me advice. I don't get advice from failures, sir. You have to give yourself advice and get your homeland
Nah, bro,
together,
you need
sir.
it. You've been on here for over 2 years saying the same things.
And I'm talking to my FBA family, and we are doing our consolidation of power, and we're building up what we need to build up in our homeland, and we're not fleeing like
Building
cowards, like
what?
you, sir.
Nothing has
Our
changed
community,
in the
sir.
last
Yeah,
couple of
yes, it
years.
has. Oh, yes, it has. Oh, yes, it has.
Really?
We're letting. Oh, yeah, tethers like you are getting more angry, and because you got to hold your own nuts, and we're not letting you hide behind us, sir.
Hide
So
behind you
that's
from who?
changed. Yes, because yeah, we're not letting you dump your filth and trash on us no more.
I mean, you are the
We're not
filth
letting
and
you.
trash. The people that are trash
Oh,
in our community live alongside you.
no, nigga. The filth and trash is in your homeland that you had to flee from, sir.
Saying my homeland is. You would flee from your homeland if you had a choice.
Oh no, I
Your
wouldn't.
people would have in the past.
No, I got a choice. I can live anywhere in the world.
I'm talking about your
I
ancestors. The reason you're a FBA is because they couldn't leave. They had
they
to drink
could.
from the bad water fountain.
Nigga, our families fought to stop from drinking from the bad water fountain. You see how that worked? We stood up against the mightiest army and government in the world. It was black folks in the streets in the 1960s fighting against that and making the changes of the law.
No,
Y'all as
y'all was in the
fled.
street asking everything you got.
No.
Everything you got, you
That's
had to
projected.
ask him for.
No. We were demanding and setting shit on fire and turning up, sir.
And at
That's
the
what
end
we
of the day, you
were doing.
were still asking for permission.
No, we
Still
weren't
doing it
at.
to
No,
this
we were.
day, saying Black Lives
No, no,
Matter.
no, no,
You
no,
have
no,
to
no, no,
ask
no,
for
no,
them to
no,
say,
no, no, no,
please,
no, no. When you
I
got a
matter.
no, nigga, no, Juju. When you got a Molotov cocktail in your hand, you ain't asking no more. You're making a demand. We made these people cough it up. We didn't ask for shit.
Cough what up?
We made them cough it up. We made them give it up. That's how that works. We made them give it up. We hit the streets and turned shit up and made them give it up. We stopped asking and we said, "Hey, we got more Molotov cocktails for you if you don't get right with some of this equality here." And then they got right with it. We did it without fleeing like your ass, right?
Barely.
Barely nothing, because not only did we turn up and make them get the laws right for us, we got the laws right for your little musty ass, because you couldn't get over here before we turned up and made them let your ass over here. So you're welcome.
I'm saying this is a land where anyone can succeed and
You,
you're
you,
still
you,
doing
you,
bad.
no, you're welcome. See, this is what I'm talking about, the ungrateful tethers. Y'all couldn't come over here in large numbers before we turned up and made it happen. You couldn't.
Everything you did was allowed by the white people. They the ones that run the
No. It
campus.
was turned. No. We made them give it up, sir. And if it weren't for us, you would still be over
If
in
you made
Somalia,
them give it up, then why didn't you
sir.
subject them as well?
Juju. If it were not for foundational Black Americans turning up on the white supremacists, you would still be over in Somalia eating some flatbread, drinking camel breast milk, my nigga. Let's keep it a buck. You're welcome.
My nigga, everything you got, you had to beg for from white people.
No, we
And
didn't.
that's
That's you
okay.
projecting. That's you projecting. We didn't beg for anything. That's y'all love projecting. Y'all got to go to the immigration office and beg for a green card. Y'all got to go down and beg for grain at the Red Cross tent. Y'all got to beg Sally Struthers for some
And
peanut
what's the
butter
difference
jelly
between
sandwiches
that and the
here.
Million Man
No, no,
March?
no, 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 no,
Mr. Martin Luther King
no.
saying,
That's
please,
what. No. Y'all got to do all that begging. That's you. Y'all are beggars. When you go to your homeland, you go to the airport, y'all out there begging. That's you. Don't project that onto us. We know how to get it, dude. We built this
man,
country.
just keep it
Who we
real. What's the
begging?
difference between that and
Who we
saying, I
begging?
can't breathe? Oh, BLM.
Who,
What's the difference?
yeah, when he couldn't breathe and got killed, what happened?
All you did was cry about it and then move on.
No, we didn't. No, we didn't, dude. We had a global turn up. What you talking about? Nigga, we
That
turned up in
resulted
this.
in
What you talking about, dude? When they killed that dude unjustly, we turned the fuck up. And then we have the whole world turning up, dude. We set it off like men and women. We set it off globally. We had the whole world turning up. You had people overseas turning up for us at the U.S. embassies. We had it lit, literally out here. We didn't do what you did. And y'all don't even get oppression. Y'all get a sandstorm, and all of a sudden, y'all have to go to the green card office to give a reach around to get the hell up out of there. Just little shit be making y'all flee. So you can't speak on us, sir.
All you did was beg harder, bro. That's the point.
No, that's you projecting. Juju, that is you
Nigga,
projecting.
what does Black Lives Matter mean? That means you're begging to
I
tell
don't give
someone that my
that.
life matters.
Black Lives Matter is white opposition. That's some white folk shit. We don't trip on Black Lives Matter. You sound like a
You
white
just said that
supremacist
was
shit.
your turn up, though.
No, I
Yes,
didn't.
you did.
You just making up. Well, I didn't say Black Lives Matter. Nothing. I didn't say anything of. That's you saying that goofy shit.
Oh, so okay. So when Black Lives Matter turns up, you can claim it as your own turn up, but you
Black
don't fuck with it.
Matter is just Black Lives Matter ain't got shit to do with what was going on in the streets. Fuck you talking about?
So what were they saying in the streets? What were they chanting?
They weren't saying no Black Lives Matter. That's white media stuff, dudes. This is how disconnected to the streets you are because you're a tether. See what I'm saying? Tethers don't need to be in our business. You don't know what you're
It was
talking
the Black
about.
Lives Matter movement.
Stop
It was
it.
only
You're a
2 years
tether
ago,
who
buddy. You
doesn't know.
can't change history.
You're a tether. You're a tether who don't know what he's talking about. The streets don't rock with the Black Lives Matter bull. That's corporate bullshit. What is Black Lives Matter? That was just a hashtag that the white media was promoting. Dude, the streets weren't running around with that
That's
shit.
not the point, though. You say you were in the
It's
streets. There
the
was no
point.
guns in
It's
the
the
streets.
point. Dude,
It
you're,
was
you're tether babbling now. Juju, you're just tether babbling because you are a coward and you come from a coward lineage with no culture, and that's why you're over here begging to stay, right? That's where the begging is. Juju?
I would say that, but you're not keeping it real with your begging, so nah, I ain't begging either.
So yeah, you are begging. That's you over here eating off of us, sir.
And we're all eating off the white man. Just admit it.
Stop it, sir. Dude, we don't depend on the white man. We know how to get it on our own. We've always had to get it on our own. The white man don't give us
You're
shit.
all on food stamps from the white man.
Stop it. Stop it. Food stamps. Y'all tethers come over here and get the first EBT card you can find if you don't stop.
Hey, I said I would admit it if you did too. You're saying you're acting like you run
You
this country. That
tethers,
shit's
you
such
tethers
a
get the
lie.
first EBT card you can damn get.
And I came up
You
here to tell
got
you how to help yourself. And then you have an insecurity
sir.
complex. You got to bring
can't,
up my
you
people.
can't, sir. You don't have a culture. You come from a non-culture, and your only culture is failure. And you're jealous and vitriolic towards foundational Black Americans because we've had to feed your big forehead, musty ass for the last 50 years, and you're
Feed
very
who? Our
ungrateful.
people feed you.
Yo,
We own the gas
no,
station. You come in there
oh,
to get some cigarettes and we feed you.
we do. Y'all don't have anything in those little convenience stores that we need. Y'all don't have anything that we need in them little stores except old stale cookies and blunt papers. Y'all don't have nothing that we really need. You guys are a cancer to the community with the filth that you sell, sir. Juju,
Man, stop muting me.
Juju,
You come there because we accept EBT. That's why. And y'all be lining up.
Juju, you use your own EBT. You need to go set up a gas station in your homeland and get it popping, which you can't, sir. And that's why you're jealous and upset because you have no culture.
Our people
But
back
that's
home
okay.
live better than your people here.
Stop it, sir.
Why would I
Stop it,
lie?
sir. Because you're over here, and if you were living better, your ass wouldn't be over here. That's the proof. The proof is in the pudding, Juju.
I'm over
Right?
here because there's money over here. But the
Yeah,
people over
and
there,
there's none
even
over
the poor ones
and
live
and
better
there's
than the
and
ones
there's
here.
none over there. That's right. You damn right. There's money over here and none over there in your homeland,
I'm
Juju.
saying
None.
even the poor people over there live better than
No,
your people.
no, they don't. You over there high off the cat drug. You're living in tents and shelters and eating zebra wings. Y'all just doing anything, eating bush meat, just trying to figure out a way to get your asses over here with us, sir. Let's tell the truth. So you're welcome. Show some gratitude, Juju. How about that?
Stop muting me, man. Why you gotta mute me every time?
Because Juju, I'm not going to let you tether babble. All right, this is not a Somalian pirate ship. You're not the captain here. You're not the captain now. Okay, you are not the captain. No matter how big your forehead is, you're not on a Somalian pirate. You're not the captain. You're going to listen, and you're going to tilt that big forehead to the side, and you're going to get an earful of this truth. Okay,
Hey, man.
Juju?
I was just trying to help you figure out how you can get your shit from the white people. But hey,
Dude, you,
cause
I
begging,
will. I will never get help from a failed tether, somebody whose whole lineage has done nothing but fail. And I hate to go there, sir, but you know that your lineage and your family is a failed experiment in humanity. You guys fail on top of failing. And then y'all have the nerve to have jealousy for us because we are the face of Black pride. Foundational Black Americans. When you think of Black people, who do you think of? You think of foundational Black Americans. You do not think of big forehead tethers like yourself. You think of us, and that makes you very mad, doesn't it? Juju.
nah. When I think of
Juju.
slave, I think of y'all. That's
No,
about
no,
it.
no, no. Sorry.
And that's how the rest of the world looks at it, though. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just keeping it
Sir,
real, man. All
and
I
you
do
ain't
is keep
keeping
it
it real
real.
because, sir, and y'all being enslaved right now. They're getting y'all from Somalia, taking y'all over to Libya and Dubai, and doing each and everything they want to do to you guys. So the slavery is happening now. At least we got the slavery up off of us hundreds of years
That's
ago.
human
You
trafficking. It's happened to everyone, even your people here.
same. That's what slavery is, sir. And another thing, what's sick, y'all sit up there and let them people traffic kids over there in your homeland, which makes you guys extra despicable. That's
They
another
doing
thing
it in
that you got.
America right now. How many black girls
No,
missing?
they don't. No, no, we don't.
Oh,
We're
do you need me
no,
to post it?
we don't. No, yeah, yeah, yeah. That's y'all doing the shit. That's why we got to keep y'all tethers out the community. We don't have a child sex ring in foundational Black American culture,
Yes, you do.
sir.
How many uncles raping their little nieces and nephews?
That's not a sex ring. That's some perverted shit behind
Oh, but
closed
there's
doors. And
millions
when
of
they
black girls that's missing
and
though.
when the perverted uncle goes to jail, he gets a foot in his ass. You see, they can't survive. They got to put them niggas in PC if they get around us, and we find out who they are. We ain't got a culture like you where they got little setups and rings of pedophiles and they sell kids. We don't sell kids in foundational Black American culture. Street pimps don't even do that shit.
You just
So
making
you got
shit up. But
no,
anyway,
no, 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 no. I'm telling the truth. Y'all sit up there and let white tourists come over there and rummage into them kids like that. And y'all sit up and know it goes down and y'all make a couple of dollars off of it and you turn your head the other way. We don't do little filthy shit like that, sir. We're different, Juju,
you don't know the
right?
difference between other countries in Africa. There's no white people in Somalia, dumbass.
Dude, they go over there and do whatever they want to do. They do go over there. What you talking about? What you
There's
talking
zero
about? They
white
know.
people in Somalia.
Dude, they go over there, nigga. What the hell was Captain Phillips about, nigga? They did a
That
whole
man was
movie
in the
about the
water, in international
right
waters. You're really
water.
slow, bro.
They're over in the water getting y'all resources. What little resources you have, the white people are getting it, and now the Asians are getting it in your homeland, sir. So what you talking
I
about?
just told you international waters. That's not our homeland, dumbass nigga.
Nigga, they ain't in the waters all day. They using the water to get places, fool.
I'm saying they're
They over
not
there getting.
in our homeland. You just don't know the difference.
Dude,
You think
yes,
all of
they
Africa is
are.
the
They
same.
going over there getting
And
the
the rest of your
resources
people
in.
think the same thing too. They couldn't even tell you where the different countries in Africa. Shit fucking dumb.
Dude, and the white supremacists control your economy, dude. They completely control your economy over there, sir. What you talking
They
about?
control all economies. I can admit that. That's the truth. You're over here talking about
Uh,
your people are doing well.
what talking about ain't no
You're
white
talking about your
people over
people
there.
run America. That's bullshit, man.
I didn't say we run America. I didn't say that at all. You're tether babbling and lying.
That's your whole little
So just
stick. You saying your people turned up
I
and
didn't
took over.
I didn't I didn't say we were running America, you lying tether. I didn't even say anything remotely close to that. You tethers are pathological liars. Boy, you guys are the biggest liars on the planet. Y'all sit around lying and scamming. I bet you in Minnesota somewhere over there got a little scam going on. I bet you're over there in Minnesota right now. They always arresting them Somalian gang members who run scams. That's another
So
thing.
why
Y'all the
won't you admit
scam.
your people are
Look,
doing bad then?
nigga, we're doing better than you because we ain't fleeing.
That's a lie.
I'm yeah,
Maybe if you're
yeah,
playing
we ain't.
basketball, but
Stop it, stop it. You ain't got nothing popping. Y'all have nothing popping. What's the successful Somalian community in America?
go look at University of Minnesota, dude.
No, nigga, that ain't, stop it. That's not a Somalian community. What are you talking about? Name the successful Somalian American community. Name it.
What do you mean? There's a Somali American community. You just named it.
Name a successful one.
Ilhan
I'm
Omar,
not
she's in the Congress. That's success.
That's not a community. That's a person, you ignorant bastard.
So what the
Name the
fuck is a
community.
community, my nigga?
Okay, you can't be that damn dumb. Nigga, what's a community? Well, hey nigga, what is a community? If you don't put that cat drug down, nigga, don't act dumb. Like, what's a community? You ain't stupid. Just say there is no successful Somalian American communities and stop capping. All right, y'all stop lying. You're over there
All right, now tell me
working
the
as,
successful black
stop it,
community
stop it.
that's not the NBA.
You're just not the NBA. Nigga, we got places in Baldwin Hills. We got places out there in Washington, D.C., Maryland, successful black communities. You got successful black neighborhoods in Dallas, whole successful black neighborhoods in Georgia. We got them all over, brother. We've always had them. We've had Sugar Hills. That's what they call successful black communities all over the place. A whole bunch of them. Yeah, name yours. Name the successful, hell, fuck it. Name the successful multi-million dollar Somalian American business. Name it.
Your successful black people don't even want to be associated with you.
Name the successful multi-million dollar Somalian American business. Name one. Go ahead. Go ahead. Well, huh? Juju. I don't have you muted.
Yes, you did have me muted the whole time. But anyway,
Well, go ahead.
Somalis are less
Go
than
ahead.
1% of the country. You people are like
Nigga,
15% still
stop
can't get it
explaining.
together.
Stop explaining. Stop explaining. You just said how much successful you are over us. Then name the successful Somalian American run business. Name it.
Bro, businesses are run by multiple people, multiple regimes, and you could
Nigga,
be a Somali.
stop explaining. Name the multi-million dollar successful Somalian American run business.
All right, you do the same for blacks, then I'll do it.
Oh, hell, the Hidden History Museum. That's one that I run. Okay. That's a successful multi-million dollar business that's foundational black
Multi-million my
America.
ass.
Yes, multi-millions, yes.
Nigga, multi-millions in
Yes.
loans, maybe.
Nigga, that's how much we paid for it. So it's a multi-million dollar business.
Stop it. I
So
don't know a
now
single person that been there.
that's one. That's one. Now name yours. I just named one that I owned. So name yours.
You so full of shit, dude. You got all these people in here that
Name
support you, still can't
yours.
make millions.
Name yours.
Every gas station and every fucking
No,
thing in your
but
neighborhoods that you
no,
come and support and
no,
line up.
no. You're just babbling right now, sir. You're just babbling out of jealousy and
You
anger.
got to compare 15% of the country to less than 1% to feel good of
Nigga, you were
refugees
the
to.
one, Juju, you were the one bragging about how successful you are. And I'm asking you, where's the success? And you start splaining and babbling.
Buddy, the
So,
average.
okay, anyway. So now this is just time wasting tether. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the average lying, scamming, jealous tether. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why we have gone out of our way to delineate from people like you. This is why we delineate, because of this mindset right here. We don't want to have anything to do with it. Now, some of the riders, we rock with the riders, but this jealous tether nonsense, we have charged that to the game. So you have a good night. I don't want to hear you lying no more. All right. You've proved your point. All right. Yeah, they sit up here capping, talking about all of this success they got, and when you ask them to name it, well, well, the gas station over here, stop it. All right, let's get Torian Rain. Terrain Walker. No, it's Terrain Walker. That's Terrain. Let me get Terrain Walker in here. Brother Terrain, hop in, sir. Terrain, hop in.
What's good, Tariq? How you doing?
I'm good, sir. How are you,
I'm
brother?
good, man. That was wild to listen to.
Oh my God, boy, they are doing the most, brother. So what's on your mind, man?
I think there is a groundswell in Black American society about delineation and saying that we are a lineage that comes from this soil and we need political gains based on that. Um, Mark, I want to kick this over to you. How can we get people who are in power, who basically are caught up in this old 60s model of a rising tide lifts all boats, to be focused on Black American issues? And if they're not going to be focused on Black American issues, how do we get them out of the paint?
Yeah, got very good point. Thank you, brother. What we do, man, we do what we're doing now. We're letting them know we're just not going to support a lot of these people unless they speak specifically about our lineage. Now, we're making these people do it. If you look, a lot of the politicians, they are starting to speak our language. They're starting to acknowledge us as a distinct lineage because we on the grassroots, we stay beating that drum. It always starts with us. We are beating that drum and we continue to beat it. They're going to get the message. And when they see the lack of support, they're really going to get the message. They feel it. And just be clear, they study the conversations, they know what we're talking about. They're just trying to see how far it will go. And what they'll do, they'll throw their disruptors in the mix. So when we see random folks sitting around talking about, man, damn all that delineation, we is black. Black is black. The white man don't give a damn about. These are paid operatives who come in the mix talking that nonsense. Watch that. Whenever you see people jump in the mix talking about we don't need to delineate and we all African and that's that in Cobra stuff. Man, if the one boat dropped us off, dropped everybody off. If the police pull me over, he ain't gonna know the difference. When they start talking that, those are talking points from some white paid operatives. So we have to know how to sidestep the operatives and stay on our square. We're on the right path. We just have to continue doing what we're doing, which is stay focused on our lineage. And in order to stay focused on our lineage, we have to value the culture of our lineage. That's why I'm very big on culture. That's why I'm very big on culture and teaching the culture of foundational Black Americans. Because see, when you get the culture straight, everything else is going to fall in line. And what we've been seeing now is a more valuation of our culture. We value our culture more because everything we've done culturally, what we've done, we've made the mistake of sitting here giving credit to all Black folks, particularly Africa. We'll do something fly and then chop it up as a win for Africa. We've been doing that to the point where people will turn around and tell us we don't have a culture because we've been sitting up propping up Africa for the last 100 years. So when we say, hey man, let's divvy up these wins and let's see what's really going on. And when we see all of the progress, the Black progress and where it's coming from, it's been coming from us. All the global Black progress for the last 200 years has been coming from this way, if we're going to be honest. So now we're changing the narratives and getting the conversations right. That's why this whole thing with hip hop, we sat there and let these people lie about hip hop for the last 30 years and where it came from. And they're still trying to crowbar the Caribbean lie, which we're getting out the paint. We're not going to let them do that no more. And we're definitely not going to let them do the Puerto Rican lie no more. And by the way, shout out to Disco King Mario's family. they recognized that brother, and this is the 50th anniversary of hip hop, and they recognized him, his contributions, because he's one of the real forefathers of hip hop, Disco King Mario, and they've kind of written him out of history. So they named a street after him in New York, and I'm glad, and we're fighting for that brother.
New at 5, the Oklahoma Department of Corrections has more than 500 inmates who are illegal immigrants or have an unknown status. Now, those immigrants could easily fall into President-elect Donald Trump's plans for mass deportations in the first days of his second term.
I asked the Oklahoma Department of Corrections for their immigrant inmate numbers and looked into why these inmates are being looked at as the first to be removed from the U.S. next year.
Vote Republican and we will begin the largest deportation operation in American history.
President-elect Donald Trump promised mass deportations on day one, and now we are getting a better idea of who could be the first to go.
But I'd like to start with deporting those who are the most violent criminals, those who are raping people or they're pedophiles or murderers. Those should be the first ones to go.
Many Republican members of Congress say the easiest to deport quickly under a second Trump administration are the illegal immigrants in prison nationwide already convicted of a crime. Right now, an illegal immigrant must serve out their sentence, and then after paying their debt to society, are they then deported. Immigration and Republican officials say since deportation is going to happen anyways, Trump is expected to just speed up the process.
There are just not a million criminals who are ready to be deported in a given year. You might have a number of people arrested, but they go to prison and you can't get them until they finish their prison sentence.
The Oklahoma Department of Corrections and Immigration and Customs Enforcement already have a relationship in place.
We monitor every state and local jail in the United States. ICE does. It monitors every federal prison.
ODOC had to compile the number of illegal immigrants in state prisons for a study at the state capitol by state lawmakers looking at the cost of illegal immigrants in Oklahoma just last month. In total, there are 594 immigrants in Oklahoma prisons who are either illegal or their status is unknown. 480 of them are housed in Oklahoma prisons under a relationship with ICE. There is an additional 114 immigrants in prison who are serving sentences, but there is no agreement with ICE. 68 in ODOC custody have an unknown status, but are not American citizens either. Things get a bit more complicated at the local level. The Tulsa County Sheriff's Office says its illegal immigrant population has plummeted in recent years. One, because Tulsa County ended its immigrant housing contract with ICE long ago, and two, the Biden administration started giving bail to illegal immigrants arrested for crimes back in 2021. Tulsa County Sheriff Vic Regalado has previously told Fox 23 once an illegal immigrant is arrested, they get a court date, bond out, and then they just run away, never showing up for court.
You're talking about individuals that committed serious crimes, okay, that have been released and are gone in the wind. You know, to commit another crime, who knows?
A spokesperson for TCSO says because of those factors, there is really no one in the Tulsa County Jail for ICE to deport. Now, keep in mind, nothing is going to happen until mid to late January. President-elect Donald Trump will not be sworn in until January 20th. The Biden administration is going to keep its current policies in place until then.
Greetings and welcome to the Movement with Kemet Shockley and Kofi Lyniles. Thank you for joining us. This show highlights the most important voices in the current Black movement for social justice. This is a chance for us to learn from the most insightful and impactful leaders in the community. Welcome to the Movement with Kemet and Kofi. Today we're here with Mr. Tariq Nasheed, who is known for his mega hit series Hidden Colors, a documentary about Black history. We're also here with Dr. Afia Mbili Shaka, who is a professor and psychologist studying psychotherapy. Dr. Mbili Shaka was recently featured on Good Morning America to discuss her research around Black identity. Tariq and Afia, welcome to the movement.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Tariq Nasheed,
Yes,
Michael Brown, Sandra Bland, Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, and a host of other African Americans laying in the street dead for absolutely no reason. A few years ago, you contextualized the underlying problem this way.
deflect into what's wrong with the black community. And we never talk about the real issue of racism and the real thing that drives racism, which is systematic white supremacy. And that's something that's never even spoken about publicly.
It used to be much less popular than it is now to use the phrase systematic white supremacy. Help us understand, what is systematic white supremacy, what is white supremacy, and what does that have to do with what's happening to black people now?
It's a system that guarantees benefits and privileges based on race, and it also guarantees detrimental treatment and mistreatment based on race. So white people are guaranteed certain privileges and benefits, and black people are guaranteed to be mistreated and systematic deprivation. So we have to always put it in the context of a system, and there are many people who operate this system. We think white supremacy is just an extremist group, a few guys walking around with hoods, a few guys walking around with swastikas, and white supremacy, the system of it is deeper than that. It's the local librarian, it's the local politician, it's the congressman, it's the person at the store, it's the person at the school. They operate in conjunction, and they operate on codes with each other, and they get these codes through osmosis. So it's very hard to detect who exactly is a white supremacist, and this is why it's been so hard to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice, because now nobody's admitting to being a white supremacist. Before, the people in this country were very proud to say that they were white supremacists. That's their term. They created the term white supremacy and drilled it into us. Now that we're giving them their term back, they're saying, hey, don't say that now. All racism matters.
So if that's the case, then why do we have people going around saying things like this?
White supremacy and white nationalism ranks nowhere near the top of the issues that are facing Black America.
Considering what Candace Owens said, what's your response to that?
In any type of system of tyranny, any type of system of blatant white supremacy, there's always been collaborators with the white supremacist structure. You can see that in Nazi Germany. They had Jewish people like Rumkowski, who was a very well-known collaborator with the Nazis, who helped round up Jewish people and take them to the concentration camps. He was ultimately taken to the concentration camp himself. So people get desperate, and they do desperate things. So they get people like Candace Owens, and they turn her into a collaborator with the white supremacist system. They elevate her to some type of spokesperson status. Candace Owens is only known for getting pushed into the limelight to talk negatively about black people. There's another context to that as well. White supremacy is a global plantation. The earth has been turned into a plantation. Wow. All of Africa and Caribbean nations, those are the fields. America is the big house. And a lot of folks who are in the field, they want to get in the big house. So they'll collaborate with the white supremacist masters to get in the big house. So they will do certain things to undermine the black people who are in the big house, which is us. Now, let's look at it in the context of slavery. Most of the runaways in slavery were people working in the house, because they were right there under white supremacy, and they saw how detrimental and how demonic it was, and there was nowhere else to go. You couldn't go the only thing was freedom. So if you look at slave narratives, the runaways were the ones in the house. We are the ones, foundational black Americans, we fight white supremacy tooth and nail. But you have other groups who want to come in because they've been deprived of resources in their homeland. So they just want to get into a comfortable zone in the big house and almost replace us to a certain degree. So they will systematically go get Caribbeans. Candace Owens is Caribbean. A lot of people don't know that. And she identifies with being Caribbean. Most of the people that are the Blacks for Trump folks, most of them are West African immigrants or Caribbean immigrants. Many of them are Jamaican. And that's deliberate, because white supremacists, they're very scientific, and they know how to strategically use black people against each other.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Dr. Mbili Shaka, you hear this, what Tariq Nasheed is saying is that we are beset with almost a vile brand of white supremacy, but yet you have what Candace Owens just said. At the same time, are we experiencing more of sort of like what we used to have in the 1960s with COINTELPRO, as this intentional discord in the community in terms of what everybody is thinking? Or do we have sort of just genuine disagreement? What do you say?
Well, there are a variety of ways to interpret her behavior and the behavior of other people that have been pawns in the system of white supremacy or victims of it. I think that there needs to be group cohesiveness as a way to address white supremacy. But I think that one of the greatest attacks of Black people is creating discord. And so when we don't have a collective identity, that it can sicken us. We are a clan people, a tribal people, we work in groups. And so having these voices of sickness can actually infect other people then too.
I want to share a James Baldwin clip from more than 40 years ago and then follow it up with a question for the both of you.
When I left this country in 1948, I left this country for one reason only, one reason. I didn't care where I went. I might have gone to Hong Kong, I might have gone to Timbuktu, I ended up in Paris, on the streets of Paris, with $40 in my pocket on the theory that nothing worse could happen to
Or Black people, especially millennials, say, you know what, the U.S. isn't for Black people, we're back to Africa. Can you tell us why you believe more Black people are giving up on the American dream and instead choosing an African dream?
I think that a lot of Black millennials in particular are looking for a space to be whole and complete and not under terrorism and attack. Now, there is a universal context of racism, but there's more of a feeling of safety when you're surrounded by people who look like you and who can actually communicate with you and don't see you as less than human. I think that when I've traveled around the world, where I have felt the most myself and human is on the African continent. That I don't have to think about certain issues or have to be worried about how someone could misinterpret a behavior or a saying. And I feel like that I'm within community. Now I'm mindful that there are systems and it's a global plantation, but in certain spaces I feel more myself, my true Black and African self.
Now, Tariq Nasheed, you've advanced the idea that Black people are foundational to the United States. So you wouldn't necessarily advocate for repatriation?
Absolutely not, because we've been here for half a millennium. And we are foundational Black Americans. We are our own ethnic group. The nations that were in Africa when certain relatives of ours left aren't even there anymore. Africa is a completely different place. It has completely different cultures since we had our ancestors there. We have a mix of Black people from Africa and Aboriginal Black people here that are mixed together to create what we have, foundational Black Americans now. This is why they named us Negro, different from Africans, because they understood what an African was, they understood what a Moor was, they understood putting the two groups together with the native people here. That's a different ethnic group. So I'm not going to repatriate because we built this land, we built the West, the wealth of the Western, well, not the Western world, but just the wealth of the world, period. Foundational Black Americans built the United States. We were not brought to the United States. We didn't immigrate to the United States. There was no United States until Foundational Black Americans built it. And I come from that stock of Harriet Tubman, Denmark Vesey, Prosser, all of those people. They didn't run, and I'm not going to run. Africa is overrun with white supremacy. The reason why Africa is devastated economically is because of the white supremacists orchestrating that. That's why when you go to African nations, there's a line at the embassy where people are trying to get passports to get over here. So white supremacy is global. We, as foundational Black Americans, know we're going to have to fight that thing head on, and I have no problem doing that at all.
So what does creating a peaceful environment look like for Black people in the United States, since you're advocating that Black people stay here and create a peaceful existence here?
Well, you can have a peaceful existence if people are acting unpeaceful to you. If people are waging war on you, you have to be in a position and a mindset to protect yourself. We can't pray our way out of it. We can't kumbaya our way out of it. You're going to have to stand up to some of the tyranny that's going on, and that's just the way it's going to have to be. Foundational Black Americans, when we got here, when we first became an ethnic group, and I trace it back to 1526 when the Spanish brought over Black people who were enslaved in Spain. There was a big slave rebellion here where they ran the Spanish out of here. We've always fought white supremacy on this land. Our history is about us fighting them and us trying to maintain our human beingness. So we did it then and we can do it now. And we have to replace the system of white supremacy with the system of justice. Going from one place to another, that's not going to solve the problem. We have to deal with the injustice of white supremacy.
Dr. Billy Shaka, any response to that?
I think that it's very challenging to practice African culture in the United States because the very nature of its founding is anti-African. And so I'm just thinking about how to have a holistic and healthy Black and African identity, that the environment does matter. And so I come from a very strong lineage, but I understand that my ancestors that were enslaved in the United States are from Africa. And so that is my home. Versus a place in which I was captured and forced to adapt.
And even though some of our people were from Africa, we were mixed in with the Aboriginal people here. We have to understand that we were here, many of our ancestors were here before Columbus. We're taught that the Native American people are these Indian-looking people with long hair that looks like weaves. Some of the Aboriginal people here look just like us. You go down and see the Olmec statues, you go to California, the Ohlone Indians, the Mojave Indians. I'm talking about jet black people, all on this eastern seaboard, jet black people. So we were mixed in with the brothers and sisters brought over from the diaspora. In the 1920s, William Pleckers, a white man who worked at the Vital Statistics Office, he went out of his way, he was a white supremacist, he went out of his way to erase the records of black people who were Native American. And they just reclassified everybody as Negro. This went on into the 1960s. The case with Loving versus the state of Virginia is based on the ruling that he put together. The one-drop rule was really not just for white people. The one-drop rule was to stop us from claiming our native Aboriginal status. Mildred Loving, the woman who's a part of that case, she's actually Native American. She was reclassified as Negro. So this is a piece of our history that's not told to us because we're taught that we're comparative to immigrants and foreigners, and we are not. So we have to understand this is our land.
I'm mindful that I have tons of European blood, right?
Oh yeah,
but that's not my space. I don't want to claim that. And so I do identify too with my indigenous background here in the United States. But I'm very, very mindful about the culture, right, that I'm operating from and practicing, and the resources that are associated with that culture, and just even whether it's the land itself and the relationship to which my phenotype and genetics developed, right, whether the classification process, which is a social construction, right, when looking at history and how the census, categorizes people from a very white supremacist ideology and purpose, I can recognize that I have a range of ancestry. But I think, again, going to that concept of culture, I'm attracted to African culture because I'm African. And so whether it's a percentage, I took African ancestry tests, but I'm very mindful that again, that in order for me to have an identity, I need to have an origin story. And I do identify the origin story of everyone on the planet from Africa. And so I think that helps me to center myself. So I'm just even thinking about of course, I have been here my whole life, right? I've never lived in Africa. And I think there are certain benefits that can be afforded to people as they navigate and transition throughout the globe. So I think there are benefits to understanding connections to environments versus connections to trauma environments too. So of course there's trauma on the African continent, tons, centuries in these pieces, but I'm just very mindful of where my origin story begins.
And what I don't want black folks to get into, and white people who are controlling the education system and the media system too, they Wakandaize our history. See, they create this Wakanda civilization that we long for, and that doesn't exist anymore. That's the reality of it. And we have to recognize foundational Black Americans' uniqueness. Yeah. We are very exceptional people who are different from other groups. We're the only group that built a nation from scratch. We're the only group who protected this country in every single war. We're the only group who created holidays like Memorial Day. We were the ones who created Memorial Day, memorializing the people who fought in the Civil War. That's another thing. We fought in these wars like the Civil War to free ourselves. We weren't just sitting around waiting on white mommy and daddy Cincinnati to free us. The Seminoles were fighting a guerrilla warfare. We fought in the Civil War. We've always maintained the integrity of this country. We created music and cultures from scratch. We created foods and recipes from scratch. We've done so many things. We created languages from scratch. So we are the culture of this nation. We're the moral fiber of this nation. And that's the thing that keeps this nation together. And that's the thing that makes this nation great, is the moral fiber that we put down. This is why when you think of black people, you think of foundational black Americans. You think of Muhammad Ali, you think of Dr. Martin Luther King, you think of Rosa Parks, you think of Ida B. Wells, you think of foundational black Americans, because we've been the moral fiber of the planet, if you want to go there. But that's no disrespect to our brothers and sisters in Africa. I go to Africa all the time and I got a lot of love for them. We have a lot of respect for them, but we just understand our own unique ethnic group as foundational black Americans.
Tariq Nasheed, you just said something that's very interesting. In terms of looking at Pan-Africanism, this idea of all African people being a unified group and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Is that a place we're trying to get to, or do we not try to get there? How do you think about that?
That's a very good question. You know what, we were, as foundational black Americans, we were going there, and it was working for us for a minute, and the white supremacists got in front of that. Black people, we recognized our universality. We understood that we're all the same as black people. We would want to connect with other black people around the world so that they could be reinforcements for us. And for a time, they were reinforcements. Marcus Garvey was a reinforcement for us. Stokely Carmichael, who's Caribbean, that was a reinforcement for us. Schomburg, Puerto Rico, that was a reinforcement. In the 1960s, the white supremacists understood, okay, we can't have these black folks becoming international. We can't have them hooking up with other black people around the world because they're going to undermine us. So they would go to these nations and they would find coons, and they would cultivate their own coons in these nations and then start sending the Candace Owens and all of these people over here to undermine us. So we got this thing, we're all black, and we'll let in a Candace Owens, and we don't know that she's undermining us under the table. And this is what's been going on now. We got this thing where we're all not only black people, but we're all people of color. Remember in the 60s and the early 70s, we welcomed all groups, all the Asian groups. Bruce Lee, we love you, Bruce Lee. Chinese movies, come on. Karate movies, come on. Liquor store, Asian liquor, come on. All of that stuff was built on our backs. But ultimately, later on down the line, you see these people started to kind of undermine and turn on us, and everything started to work against us. So we have to not just open the door to be kumbaya, kumbaya for everybody, because that will be used against us at one point. So we have to understand, we have to look out for resources for ourselves as our own distinct group, so we don't get exploited.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
You mentioned coons.
Yes.
So what is a coon?
Yes.
And is there a difference between a coon from Africa and the Caribbean and a coon who is a foundational black American?
Good question. A coon is someone who deliberately undermines black people to get minor benefits from the dominant society. That's a person who, you have to be deliberate to be a coon. Coons know what they're doing. And foreign coons and domestic coons are different. Domestic coons that we have, this is deep. The domestic coons are more buffoonish and cartoonish because they understand they can't walk among us, so there's only so far they can go with the coon. They're like Diamond and Silk. They're more buffoonish. Even white people don't take them seriously. You understand? Jesse Lee Peterson, he's more of a buffoon. White people don't even take him seriously. He's more of a caricature. But the Candace Owens and people like that, they're a little more sinister because they intellectualize that stuff. They put them people on panels to talk about reparations, you see. They have them in Senate hearings like they had on that video. So they put them in serious discussions where they work with these white right-wing think tanks to give them talking points to deliberately undermine us. So they're a little more insidious. So that's the difference.
Dr. Billy Shaka, I'm concerned about not having Pan-Africanism because I think that the idea of black people trying to solve their problems together is a good idea. But we hear what Tariq Nasheed is saying, the idea of undermining. What is your response to the notion that there are groups that may be undermining African American efforts, but we also definitely, and I hear you talking, I know that you like the idea of Pan-Africanism as well. How do we reconcile some of that?
Well, I think that we need to centralize one of the major goals of white supremacy being genocide of African people, that if we are to continue to exist, that I think that we need to understand that this is about our survival. And so even if maybe we're not speaking the same languages or eating the same foods or listening to the same music, that there still is something connected to us in terms of our genes. And so that you know, we have to recognize that using the coon, whatever the sort of the American or the Caribbean coon is still seeing that person as part of white genetic survival, right? That they need these Black voices to protect them, right? Because if they don't have that protection amongst Black people, that they are a global minority. And so to recognize that we can step into power, access our resources through this collective effort in terms of thinking about where the greatest amount of resources are on the planet, and to be able to protect those resources and utilize power to protect those, that I think that it involves a group cohesiveness. And I think that that's one of the major impacts of colonialism and enslavement, was to destroy that group cohesiveness, to in terms of the involuntary migration of African people, but how to reconnect through this agenda of survival. So I'm just thinking about, on a very genetic level, how Pan-Africanism functions and why.
The thing is, Pan-Africanism, unfortunately, for the last, I would say 50 years, it's been very one-sided. In the 1960s, our people, man, we not only were we fighting for our civil rights here, we were fighting for immigration rights. We really sacrificed a lot to get those immigration laws passed. So now, I see a lot of people from immigrant families, especially Nigeria, places like that, who say that they get the talk. And the talk is, before they immigrate here, when you get to America, you stay away from the Akata, you stay away from them Blacks. They're all gang members, and they're gonna get you pregnant, and they're gonna do all this stuff. So they get all these stereotypes, and we're welcoming these people thinking, okay, these are our brothers and sisters, and they're looking at me as an Akata, and that's not gonna work for us. So we have to understand, when people are coming over and they're going to be genuine allies, or they're just going to come over and use the resources. We're Akatas, but you're using all of the DACA programs, which is the Dreamer program named after Foundational Black American, and the LIFT program based on Lift Every Voice. All of these programs with these Foundational Black American connotations, you benefit off of the labor and the work and the efforts of Foundational Black Americans, yet you have contempt. So we're going to have to stop that contempt game and make everybody put respect on our name.
I was recently in the Bahamas.
Yes.
And I was talking to some Black people in the Bahamas. And they said that there are African Americans who come there who treat them as less than, right? So I'm wondering, if we were to talk to our brothers and sisters in Bahamas and in other parts of Caribbean and Africa, and they share those kinds of stories, what is your response to a notion that African Americans also may exhibit some coonery when they visit other countries?
I can imagine some people, maybe in a hotel setting or a tourist setting, who might be rude. We don't have our version of Candace Owens going over to an African nation, getting into their political business, telling them what they are not supposed to get. We don't have that. We don't have our version of Jesse Lee Peterson going to Jamaica telling people they shouldn't get reparations. See, we get immigrants coming over here from Africa and the Caribbean telling us what we shouldn't get after they benefit from some of the resources that we have. But we don't have that on the flip side. So again, there might be situations of individual rudeness, but as far as a whole network of people like they have over here who will try to undermine us, we don't do that to them. As a matter of fact, when we go to Caribbean nations and African nations, as you guys have displayed, we show respect. We go there and we revere these nations. Even though we haven't lived there in 500 years, we still show respect to those African nations. I've given all types of money to African orphanages. I show respect, and I get respect when I get over there. And John Henry Clark even talked about the Africans who play games when they come to the West. And that's a part of it, and we have to recognize that and not let that undermine us.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Dr. Clark as well, in terms of just even identifying these historical movements where it included Africans from all over the globe collaborating, just even like for the Haitian Revolution, having the Jamaican connection with the Haitian connection, that is actually what allowed it to jump off. And so I'm just thinking about the power that happens when we have a centralized goal or agenda in terms of liberation of African people globally. But I'm just thinking too about the role of the media. For my mind is just going into this media in terms of how that shapes the images of Africans around the globe. So, you know, for Nigerian families, they're utilizing information that they saw in a movie or saw on a television show that are stereotypes about, you know, Black Americans, and just even how that's not authentic engagement with each other. And so I'm just imagining what it would look like, you know, like you were saying, pre-1960s, what it actually looked like when they would have these Pan-African conferences in locations for people to gather and have conversation and build authentic relationships, in terms of actually getting to know each other and being the foundation for our collaboration.
Absolutely. And the white supremacists, they know us. They know us. They know our spirit. They know us. And this is why when it comes to foundational Black Americans doing certain things, the dominant white society, they're very weary of it. For example, when they do slave movies, a lot of foundational Black Americans, when they get on the set of these movies and they go to these actual plantations, I've seen many Black actors say they felt something. Some of them even freaked out. My man John Amos from Roots, he had a breakdown on a plantation. A few people who've done slave movies, they had breakdowns on these plantations. This is why I think they get a lot of English actors to play like in these slave movies. Politicians, white politicians, when it comes to putting Black people in certain political positions, they go out of their way to go get somebody who's not a foundational Black American. It's not a coincidence they got Obama. He's not a foundational Black American. It's not a coincidence they got Colin Powell. He's not a foundational Black American. Eric Holder is not a foundational Black American. So they do this stuff deliberately because they know Black people, on a subconscious level, on a spiritual level, we're going to look out for other foundational Black Americans, but they know that a person who is of foreign descent might not have that same connection, so they can get that person and trust that they're not going to empower the rest of the group. So we have to look at it from that standpoint.
So the only thing that leaves me thinking about is those brothers and sisters who are in the Caribbean and who are in Africa, who might have a different mindset than the ones who come to the United States, hearing you speak and saying, well, wait a minute, I don't feel that way.
And that's why they don't get allowed to come over here. But you see?
So maybe the issue isn't our brothers and sisters from the continent, and from the Caribbean, but maybe the issue is those who are allowed to come.
The ones who are allowed to come over, yeah. I have
some of them.
Yeah, some of them who are allowed to come over, and they're allowed to come over and they immediately get put in prominent positions. That's by design. Who are they working with? Who's sponsoring them? Who are their people? What kind of connections do they have? See, the white supremacists, they know how to cultivate these people. They know how to look at their parents and deal with their parents and then raise the kids for them, knowing that those kids are going to grow up to work with the white supremacists. They're very strategic on how they manipulate Black people to work against each other.
I'm thinking of conversations that I've had with people when I travel to, say, South America or even to the African continent. And for those who say things like, I see you as my brother, and they don't create that separation because I guess that's more of like a Pan-African mindset. Those types of people, when they travel to a place like the United States, does the mindset of identifying with me actually keep them from doing things like the Candace Owens, doing things like the Jesse Lee Petersons, because they understand that if we identify together, then I would actually be hurting you by positioning myself against you. So in those ways, do aspects of Pan-Africanism actually solve the problem of putting myself in a separate group, saying maybe I'm Jamaican, so I'm not like you, or I'm Haitian, so I'm not like you as a foundational Black American, but instead saying we're all Black, we're all moving in this direction together, so I should be on code with you to address your issues in this country?
Now, the thing is, we think like that. We think, because look, foundational Black Americans, we dealt with slave owners differently. In South America and the Caribbean, the way the slave owners dealt with the people, they played little mind games on them. The French would play this little Creole game, like, okay, you're not quite Black, I'll call you Creole. The Spanish, when they would rape the African women, they would actually claim the children. That created a lot of confusion down in South American countries because they look at themselves, they'll call themselves Spanish. Hey, I'm Spanish. Yeah, I'm mestizo, I'm morena, I'm all this. They have all these different shades because they believe that they're part of the Spanish family. Over here in America, the British made no bones about their distaste and dislike for all colors of black people. There is not a mulatto community in America. There's no octoroon community in America, whereas in South America and the Caribbean, you have little communities of these Creoles, these little communities of these mestizos, these little communities of octoroons, all of these different racial communities. We're all just black, so we understand we're all the same, we're all gonna get treated the same. So we're welcoming all these other people thinking that they're gonna think like us, but when they get here, it's like, well, I'm a Creole, I'm not like him. I'm mixed. My mama's black, but my dad is Haitian. So I'm black, I'm mixed, but you're jet black. So we got a lot of people who are confused about dealing with white supremacy because they bring over all of these color casts that's been beneficial in their homeland, but it doesn't work here. Because see, they get tangible things in these other nations with these little color casts. You get to, if you are not as dark, you get to own a business. So they actually get something out of it. We don't get nothing out of that stuff over here. We only do the color thing when it comes to dating, and that's it. That's the only time it makes a difference. But as far as getting resources, light skin, dark skin means nothing. You get treated the same over here, and we recognize that.
It makes me think of my niece asked me a question about a month ago, and she said, what does it mean to be black? How can I understand who I am as a black person? If she asked you that question, Dr. and Billy Shaka, what would you tell her? What does it mean to be black? What is black identity?
This is something I've been studying and why I chose to go to Howard in terms of really understanding that definition. The way that I understand black identity, it's an internalized and evolving narrative of self within a racial system, right? It's the stories that we tell ourselves about who we are and who we're connected to and who, well, just thinking about the culture of race and racism and your relationship with it. I don't think that there's one universal answer to what being black is or what it means to have a black identity, because of the range of phenotype, because of the range of life experiences, access to resources, languages. But I think that there is, again, a story. I operate from the story piece in terms of conceptualizing what identity is. It's answering, who am I? And in that answering, if you say black, that it has lots of meaning. Now the meaning can shift depending on where you are, the timeline, the physical space. But if you just, how old is your niece, you said?
15.
15, okay, I was like, if she was 6, I would say one way, but 15. But yeah, answering the question of who am I and saying black has an implication about your history and it has an implication about your culture. So that it links you to a historical timeline and a group of people.
And that's a very interesting question because I always tell people the dominant society, they have a concept where they deal with black people. It's the one big Negro concept where we treat it as one big Negro. And with black people, we get confused as to what blackness is because it can mean, that was a very good point, it can mean so many different things to different people. And unfortunately, that will leave us up to a lot of exploitation. This is why we came up with the designation foundational black American, so we can specifically explain what that means. That means a person who's black, who was part of who survived the slave trade and who were the foundations of America. That's a very distinct classification. The problem now, you got a lot of people who are politically black and they're black when it's convenient. So they will come from another nation and they will identify with the other nation. But if they know they can get some benefits, they'll be black temporarily. And this is just not relegated to people from other Caribbean and African nations. You got the Rachel Dolezals who can now say, well, I'm trans black. because I can get some benefits out of it. I can go get a scholarship. I can go get a job at the NAACP. Not only her, there's a bunch of white women now who are going to the universities, getting jobs, teaching African American studies, and they're falsely claiming black. So people are using blackness as a political strategy to get benefits and resources. So this is why we got to cut all the nonsense out and start putting some definitions on who's who and who's what, and let's clear up all the smoke.
This is an outstanding discussion. I think it's really an important part of the movement, and that's the identity piece, and how do we want to deal with the internationalization issues that are going on, because here we are in a country where lots of different black people are going to continue to come to the country. Many of them might be undermining, some of them might not be undermining, but we also have black people who are from this country undermining and not undermining. So we have a lot of things to straighten out. But I want to circle back to the movement itself and ask the two of you to take a quick look at a video that was presented by Tamika Mallory. I just want to get your opinions on some things that she had to say.
What is happening in America is that white nationalism ideology is running wild. And the reason...
Tariq Nasheed, recently you've been advocating for black people to see themselves as a distinct group, as we've been talking about here today. We saw the clip that Tamika Mallory, just speaking to us. In terms of us being foundational black Americans, distinguishing ourselves from Caribbeans or Africans and things of that nature, first of all, do you think that it's a coordinated effort to what's happening to black people? And second, how does our vision of ourselves as foundational black Americans help us to deal with the issue of the annihilation of black people? How does that vision do that?
The white supremacists right now, their numbers are dwindling, and they know that they're going to be a minority here in the United States within the next 20 years. They're already a global minority. White people are less than 10% of the global population. They understand when they get low numbers here, that's going to be a threat. They want to create an apartheid state. The problem is, black people in America, we have a history of fighting them. So they're trying to establish dominance over us now by creating a militaristic apartheid regime. So this is why we're seeing all of these random killings of black people all around the country that's just brazen, and they're just being bold about it because they're trying to haze us to get us to break down and accept it, and it's not working. So the problem is when they start bringing in other groups from other places to work with them and try to undermine us, we have to understand who they are and who's working with the white supremacists and who cannot come into our circles. This is why we're looking at ourselves as our own distinct group so that we know who to connect with to fight the white supremacists. We are in a war with